Hello guys, Croft is here. Should we be excited for the upcoming Predator movie? Is this movie already in trouble after we've seen all the news about the reshoots, early screenings and the leaked script? In this video I'll go over all the controversy that happened with the Predator 2018 so far, how it affects the movie itself, and I'll also share some of my own thoughts if the movie is gonna be good or not. Before I get to the topic, we recently reached 25,000 subscribers, which is a huge number for me. I wanted to thank you guys for watching my videos. I really appreciate your support and I'll try to make more content in the future. In short, I think that the Predator is in big trouble and we'll get to the reasons in just a moment. I think it's highly likely that this movie will be bad and have negative reviews, especially from the fans. However, I also believe that there's a small chance that the movie will be good despite all the odds, and I'll explain why near the end of the video. Before we get to the reasons why Predator 2018 will most likely fail, I want to say that I loved the original Predator and I hope that the upcoming movie will live to the expectations. But based on all things that happened so far, I don't think it's gonna be the case. The first and the most obvious red flag is that the trailer was delayed multiple times, and even when the director announced the release date on Twitter, it never happened. This fact alone says multiple things about the production process and suggests poor management of the film project. It means that there is a disconnect between the studio and the director, and that there are multiple parties involved in the production that don't seem to agree with each other. I don't think that Shane Black would intentionally mislead the fans on Twitter about the release date. The most reasonable explanation is miscommunication between the studio and the production team. And based on what we've seen with other franchises like Star Wars, especially with The Last Jedi and DC Extended Universe, studio interference never leads to a better movie. Studio interference causes the film to lose its unique vision brought by the writers and directors, and instead the film becomes a collection of elements that sort of fit together in a plot but don't give a sense of one complete, cohesive story. One of the reasons the original Predator is so good is because of the excellent script, where every scene is necessary and serves a purpose. All that was achieved because the production team was able to put on the screen a really good story, which wouldn't be possible if the studio required to make changes. Another major problem with the Predator 2018 is that early test screenings in November had very negative reviews from the fans, indicating that the movie changes the original Predator lore. Although there is no way to prove that the test screening reviews are legitimate, changing the Predator mythology makes total sense when the movie advertises itself as the reinvention of the Predator franchise. However, I don't think the Predator needs reinvention. Instead, we can expand on the existing lore without drastically changing it. The trailer also explains why predators hunt. There is to collect other species' DNA to enhance their own DNA. But logically it doesn't make sense because that will make predators weaker. Predators always strive to be the greatest hunters, so if they kill the one that they hunt, it proves that they are stronger, so they shouldn't have any interest in DNA of weaker species. In general, I think Fox wants to make the Predator 2018 using the same model or the blueprint that Ridley Scott used to make Prometheus. If you think about it, the approach to these two movies is very similar. Fox assigned Ridley Scott, the director of the original Alien, to make Prometheus, just like they decided to put Shane Black, the screenwriter of the original Predator, to write and direct the Predator 4. Prometheus in some way turned out to be the reinvention of the Alien franchise, because Prometheus was very different from all the previous Alien movies. Just like the upcoming Predator is advertised as the explosive reinvention of the Predator series. Prometheus addresses the mystery from the original alien, who was the space jockey. In the same manner, Predator 2018 attempts to expand on the question why predators hunt. Even though Prometheus wasn't an enormous box office hit, it still made a considerable amount of money and, most importantly, made the franchise relevant. So it appears that Fox wants to produce Predator 4 following the Prometheus model, since it has shown to be successful with the Alien franchise. However, Prometheus was not a reinvention of the franchise, it was the expansion. The movie expanded on what was initially established in the original Alien of 1979, which is the space jockey. Even before making Prometheus, Ridley Scott mentioned in the interviews that he always wanted to revisit and expand the space jockey mystery, which he finally did in Prometheus. Going back to the Predator 4, the idea itself to reinvent the franchise and possibly change the elements that made people love it in the first place is extremely risky. And we've already seen that reinvention totally didn't work with The Last Jedi, that changed so many elements of the original lore, which made a large portion of the Star Wars fans hate the movie. The next potential problem is that, according to early screenings, the movie has a comedic tone. The original Predator movie certainly had comedic moments, with Arnold's well-known catchphrases. However, the overall tone of the movie was not comedic at all. So, on the top of other potential problems that I just talked about, if the tone of the movie turns out to be comedic, it can really mess up everything and cause negative reactions from the fans. It's possible that Shane Black came up with his own special way of integrating comedy with other Predator themes, but more on that later. Then, going to the next point, the entire third act of the film was reshot, probably as a result of negative reviews on the early screenings. Reshoots, especially 5 months before the release date, is not a good sign. Other highly studio-regulated franchises like DC Expanded Universe and Star Wars had to do reshoots for some of their movies, which did not improve them and might even made these movies worse. I'm not saying that reshoots always lead to a bad film, but if we look at the history of cinema, movies that became better because of reshoots, like Back to the Future for example, did not have this high degree of studio regulations, and filmmakers had way more freedom with the production. One of the reasons for Marvel's success compared to DC is that Marvel gives directors and writers more freedom to write really good stories and then put them on the screen, making the emphasis on the storytelling instead of pushing a certain studio agenda. In the contrast, highly studio-regulated movies that had reshoots ended up with incoherent storylines, plot holes, and tone mismatches. It's clear that Fox decided to reshoot the third act to make the Predator movie better, and I hope it will turn out to be so. However, reshoots are a sign that the movie deviated from the director's original vision. Therefore, the version that we'll see in theaters has the risk of being a collection of elements instead of one complete story. That's why the part that was reshot might feel out of place, like it was taken from another movie. As I mentioned before, the Predator 2018 has a small chance to be good, which could happen due to Shane Black's unique perspective. Just like with Prometheus that had negative reviews at the beginning because of lack of xenomorphs, the Predator 4 might seem a failure at the start, but later, similarly to Prometheus, the fans will realize that it's actually a great movie. We should also consider the fact that Shane Black was a scriptwriter for the original Predator, a movie which was so successful that it started the franchise that we know now. So maybe Shane understands predators and why people like them on a much deeper level. And because of that, despite all the potential problems, Shane will surprise everybody by showing his unique vision of the predators on the screen. If we look at his previous works like Iron Man 3, The Nice Guys, and other action films, they all have a certain sense of danger mixed with action and some comedy. These are reasons why Predator 2018 has a chance of being good, and I really hope it turns out this way. But again, I think it's unlikely, so I wouldn't set my expectations too high. Thank you guys for watching. What do you think about the upcoming Predator? Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel for more Alien and Predator content. My name is Croft, and I'll see you in the next video.